everyone. James Williams, Director of Programs with MEF. If you've only just joined us, a very warm welcome to MEF CONNECTS Wholesale. So not so long ago, MEF had a digital transformation event, and Dario started off the event actually yesterday by talking about a situation where he was talking with people who didn't view wholesale as exciting, should we say, and saw wholesalers lacking innovation. Well, they couldn't have been further from the truth. Wholesale underpins the whole industry so many of us watching today are involved in, and it is transformative. It's transforming itself. And this next session coming up now is a real expression of that. So I'd like to introduce Isabelle Paradis, President of Telecom. Hi, Isabelle.
Hello, James. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So yeah, pleasure having you join the show again today. And thank you for closing yesterday with a great session on 5G roaming. So a very, very apt start to the day with Nitin's presentation. And I'll hand over straight to you now. Enjoy your session. Thank you.
Before you go, James, I had to go into my bathroom at my hotel. I'm in my bathroom because it's very noisy outside of my window. Is the sound okay for you guys?
It's absolutely perfect.
That's no commitment for you. I'm in my bedroom to do my presentation.
I think that's a MEF first. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Isabelle.
Thank you, James. Bye. Hello, everyone. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's fireside chat entitled "Wholetail the New Wholesale." There's no doubt about it. The wholesale business is transforming completely, moving away from a one-size-fits-all generic offering towards tailored solutions that resemble what is found in the retail segment. And therefore, wholesalers are encouraged to transform their business to go towards more of a verticalized types of solutions, creating what I like to call wholesalers. So we have two superstars of our industry today as my fireside chat victims. But before I welcome them, I would like to explain to you my view of the concept of wholesale. So if you could share my slides, please. Thank you. So I guess some of you are wondering what is, whoops, I think my slide is not working here. So I think many of you are wondering what wholesale is all about. What type of animal is a wholesaler? Well, to put simply, a wholesaler is the convergence between a wholesale and retail to create wholesale. And this has been triggered by three drivers in my view. The first one is the gap between wholesale and enterprise is closing. So more and more we see enterprises reacting, expecting the types of solutions that wholesalers provide, the type of support. So there's a blurring of the line between what enterprise are expecting and wholesale customers are expecting is becoming more and more similar. The second driver is that the MNOs are also looking to increasingly address the enterprise segment. Therefore, they're expecting wholesalers to transform their offering to them so they can deliver those types of solutions to enterprises. And last but not least, wholesale customers, all of us, are changing as well. We're expecting more and more a tailored types of experience, no matter if we buy a pair of shoes on the internet or a wholesale solution. These three drivers really are transforming our business, what we expect, how we expect to interact with our business. And I think it's creating the fourth wave of transformation. So I've been in the business for 30 years. And in my view, I've seen three waves of transformation. And they happen about every 10 years. So the first one is the deregulation wave that happened in the 1990s. The second is the mobilization wave, which happened in the year 2000s with the introduction of mobile. The third one is the IPification, which is more the evolution from TDN to IP. And the one we are entering now I think, is the verticalization of our business. And this has been triggered by technology evolution, the customer evolution, and therefore has impacted the services and the ecosystem. So if we look at the technology, I think we're in a perfect storm of transformation, really. On one side, we have the digitalization of our whole world, pushing towards cloudification, automation, and virtualization. And on the other side, we have the introduction of 5G, which I think really will be an enterprise play with slicing, low latency, end-to-end quality, and private networks. So these two colliding technological evolution really are transforming our whole industry and the way we deliver services to wholesale customers and enterprise customers. Now, if we look at ourselves, the customers, through the digital transformation of a society, what we are expecting now when we buy any services, but more specifically telecom services, is we want multiple fluid options that evolve with our changing needs. We want transparency and more security. We want to be able to self-build and control our tailored experience. And of course, we want connectivity at all time. With the pandemic, I think this has evolved to one step further, because now what we want all that, but at a click of the button. We want to click to shop, click to buy, click to pay, and click to return. So that also, therefore, is pushing the wholesaler to transform the way they deliver the services. Now, this is a slide that maybe some of you have seen before. So when we were into the communication era, okay, the growth was coming from voice and SMS, data, of course, and connectivity. When we entered the entertainment era, then we saw the introduction of content solution and cloud. Now we're entering the digital era. What we see is a growth in terms of IoT solution and security. So where the growth is in connectivity, cloud, IoT, content, and security. And if we look at those services, we see that they are both wholesale and enterprise solutions. So we see a blurring of the line of these solutions as well. Now, if we took a selfie of the ecosystem, the telecom ecosystem 3 years ago, or maybe 5 years ago, we would have seen that operators at played the main role in the industry, as were the carriers. Now, with the digital transformation shift, we see that this is moving towards the cloud, of course, the shift of powers with cloud providers, cloud platform providers, and enterprise as well. And I think with 5G, this will accelerate. And we see a lot of operators and carriers trying to transform themselves into cloud providers and platform providers as well. So this is kind of contributing to the shift toward a wholesale model. So what is the game plan? If you want to become a wholesaler, what do you need to do? So in my view, you need to, this starts with the evolution of services toward tailored solution by vertical, which is underpinned by enhanced support and information in real time. And these solutions then should be delivered using platforms that enable customers to control their experience, using marketplaces if required, and consultative selling. So it's really transforming the way you reach your customers. Then, of course, it's always about people, and it starts at the top. So the leaders of today should be enterprise savvy and able to create ecosystems equipped to deliver these tailored solutions, which are very complex. And to make this happen, carriers should foster expertise by vertical. But one thing I would like to clarify, there's a blurring of the line in terms of networks between enterprise and wholesale, in terms of solutions. But one thing I think should remain separate is the sales team, because selling to wholesalers and enterprises, I think, will remain very different going forward. So this is my view. But now I would like to hear what our two superstars have to say about this. They don't have to agree with me. Maybe they will agree to part of it or all of it. We will see. So I would like to welcome Carlos Villanueva, is co-founder and CRO of Enabled, as well as my good friend Patrick George, Group Chief Strategy Officer at iBasis. Guys, welcome.
Hello, dear Queen.
Hello.
Queen Isabelle.
The Queen Isabelle in the toilet. That's
Queen Isabelle in the toilet. That's funny.
So guys, how are you today?
Good.
Cool.
Very good, Isabelle. Thank you. As always, I always like to participate in these kind of discussions.
Yes, and I think this will be, based on our discussion we had before to prepare, this will be a really interesting one. So maybe to get us started, tell me, do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you see this transformation? Do you see it in the way I presented it? Who wants to start? Carlos, maybe?
Sure. Amel, I fully agree on the concept, because it's something that we're at Enable we do on a daily basis. But from the, let's say, from the industry perspective, it could be, let's say, partially an agreement, because of course it will depend on each case. So this concept of wholesale and the transformation is not really a concept that will be deployed and done by everyone. So because not everyone is going to do the adaptation and the deployment 100%, and as you explained in the previous slides, it really depends on the positioning of the wholesaler in the market. I mean, how what is their readiness in this transformation, and how they can move, let's say, from the aggregation business, wholesale business, into a more digital end-to-end solution-oriented company. Depending on this positioning of their readiness, it's how possible this wholesale model will be applicable. As you explained, I mean, the wholesale model really implies different things. I mean, on my view, it goes, as you said, from services, organization, delivery, but also this implies a change in the business model. No, from the wholesale business model, there is going to be a change there required to make it able, I mean, to make this business model able to be adapted to the customer journey and what the customer is expecting, the new type of customer is expecting from the wholesaler. So it's really important here to understand as well is where the wholesaler should focus. No, I mean, to make this wholesale model relevant and applicable. And as I said, it will also depend on the customer. No, what is the customer, what they're asking them to deploy, and what is the type of customer experience that the wholesaler would be able or will be required to deliver. And one of the important pieces here is to make this happen is do we have the right organization today, or what type of organization we will require in the future? Do we need more of a digital savvy or enterprise savvy organization that can understand easier the how to deal with this new type of customer segment? What are the changes that are required? And lately, what I see is that even if you have, let's say, the organization, the customer needs at hand, there's still a legacy technology there that has to evolve and has to be as flexible as possible to be able to, let's say, to deliver what is expected. So let's say in summary, I really believe in the wholesale model, but I really also think that it's not for every wholesaler, and it will depend on what is the positioning and their readiness to move forward.
Well, I guess one thing that comes to my mind, okay, I agree with you, not everyone can transform or address the enterprise market completely. But shouldn't they at least transform the way they deliver the services even to their wholesale customers because of the way people expect to consume anything that they purchase? So shouldn't they transform anyway? Maybe even if they don't offer services to the enterprise, shouldn't they at least transform the way they deliver the services so it's more tailored, more flexible, even if they only address the wholesalers?
Certainly. I mean, certainly, I also think that the industry as such, it requires to evolve towards a more digital savvy delivery model. But when on my daily basis, if I can tell you, when I speak to different wholesalers, platforms, etc., I mean, their business is what it is today, right? So they get revenues from a specific type of business model. And when you pitch about how to transform themselves, about a digital platform that can help them to offer better customer experiences or a better interface to their current customers, there is not a lot of, sometimes there is not a lot of first understanding why they should do it if the business is running as is for so many years. And second of all, what's the business case behind? So how this is going to bring more revenue or will decrease my costs, my operational cost on moving from the traditional delivery model to a more digital model.
Okay, Patrick, what do you think? You agree or you disagree?
First, I'm long enough in this industry to know that better agreeing with you than disagreeing with you if you want to make a long career there. So by default, I'll agree to all what you said.
No, you know, in panels is the reverse. I don't like people agreeing on panels. I become angry.
You say that, but okay. You don't live always your value. You punish us when we are disagreeing. No, more seriously, it's no, for me, it's a very important concept. This is kind of the one of the part of the equation of long-term profitability for us, being a wholesaler, you know, because if you want to oversimplify your business, we can only act when something is international, need interconnection, interoperability, and so that's a kind of, and it's not purely an OTT. I mean, that's the kind of where we have a role to play. So if we limit that to those constraints, that probably our cake can go smaller and smaller. So it's important also to continue to stay ahead and to reinvent ourselves. Piggybacking on your second question, I guess it's very important how to serve the industry, but also how can we help our own customer to serve their own enterprise, B2B to B and B2B directly. And so those two concepts is something I guess that is on my mind for several times. This B2B2B, where you help your partners, to your customers, to serve the better way their customer, leveraging your knowledge, your global DNA versus a national DNA of an operator, and also the way we can assist to the different development phases of a technology. Sometimes it's Europe at the lead, sometimes it's USA at the lead, sometimes it's Asia, sometimes it's Africa. When you speak about the mobile money, for example, Africa is far you could say more advanced than the rest. And so us having a global DNA, I guess we can a little bit live those kind of new development all over the place. But to come back on the pure wholesaler, it's also important to, as you said, there are multiple driving force to converge to say that this strict boundaries which existed between wholesale and enterprise now tends to fade into a kind of gray zone in the middle. And of course, you spoke about verticalization. It's very important because it's not for all enterprise. Again, being wholesaler, wanting to be wholesaler, we probably need to find which niches are important, place where we can be relevant. And typically, it can be with tier 2, tier 3 operator. While the big group of every R&D department that everybody dreams about, I mean, tier 2, tier 3s, they cannot piggyback on such big R&D, and then we can help them more to progress on the B2B2B side. And then maybe for some enterprise, again, keeping in mind that you don't want to compete too much with your own customer. It's to see which market, which niche can you address, which is not addressed typically or part of the strategy of your own customer. So that's for me
So I guess, Patrick, you're starting this transformation, or maybe you already are quite advanced in that transformation, but what do you see? Do you see others doing that in the industry? Is it the minority, or is it a wave starting? Where do you think we're at with that?
But I guess it's depending where you're from. If you are part of a big group with already retail activities, you probably have a lot of internal, very interesting and probably lengthy discussion to say, can I do that? Or no, it's not for you. This is for the retail activity. Yes. If I take ourselves being a pure independent wholesaler with no native retail business, I guess for us, it's important to move in this transition. Some of our peers are also, you can say, advanced, and some of them more advanced than us, some of them less advanced than us, but working on that. And then you have the company who historically, for example, had a data arm serving enterprise already, for a long time. You know them. You were part of one of them when you were 22, so last year. And so some of them, of course, have an advantage because they're already part of this enterprise ecosystem. They already have a brand in this ecosystem. And we can probably come back later on the different point that we need to address for us to be successful, we hope.
Well, exactly. It's a perfect segue to my next question, Patrick. So I guess, let's say we're convinced we need to transform. For people watching us, it's okay, I want to transform into a wholesaler. So what is the keys to success to doing that? And what are the challenges? What will they face as challenges and how to succeed? Carlos, maybe?
Well, for me, the first thing is to look at is the organization, because it's true that in the tier 1 wholesalers, we see more activity. At least they are more willing to do it from the organization perspective, people, but also technology perspective. And they have more the capacity to do that. They have, as Patrick said, different departments that can deploy and deliver this model. They have already a strong presence in their countries, strong brand, and the enterprise sales force already there. So it's relatively easier for them to jump into this But anyway, if the organization is not there, and on top of it, the technological deployment in the organization is, or in the companies or in the wholesalers is not happening at the same speed, then it's going to be very hard. Why I'm saying this, because if for the tier ones, clear examples today is we see also failures happening. So I cannot imagine tier 2 and tier 3 when they're trying to jump in this wholesale business. So for me, it's really important to find the right position, where to be in this wholesale model. And what I always recommend to wholesalers when they are starting their digital transformation is that they should use the analogy of the automotive industry. This is, for me, the best example. You remember in the past, car manufacturers, they were very, very much vertical companies, taking care of the steel production, all the parts, then doing the assembling. And nowadays that doesn't happen in this way. So they are very much focused in their core business, and they use, let's say, other partners that can bring, let's say, best available functionalities, best available parts, and they assemble a final product. So for me, that's one of my recommendation. It's to go in that direction. I think I find it easier in the transformation. And then the last one will be very much is how do you position your brand in where you are. I mean, moving into a digital ecosystem, addressing a new type of enterprise market, or even offering a new, let's say, user experience or customer journey to a current wholesale market, it requires also that your brand transforms, that is not looked at as the traditional wholesaler buying and selling connectivity or doing only aggregation. It requires a lot of work there on the brand, so the customer can feel themselves into this, let's say, transformation, and they can really trust the partner in the way they should. Because at the end of the day, it's all about knowing your customer, no? So I mean, the wholesaler should go into this know your customer model as well, where they basically start tailoring and providing different type of support to their current wholesalers or to their new enterprise market. So these three aspects for me are what I think are keys to success, to have a better successful transformation. And the challenges around this transformation is, as I said, the brand is super important. I mean, what and how to manage the brand. Do you verticalize yourself or not? Do you use partners to verticalize better so they can bring you these vertical skills and functionalities, products, so at the end you can deploy end-to-end solutions? And again, a challenge is digital skills. No, I mean, organization. Do we have the digital skills? Do we understand what to do? First of all, do we know what to do? What do we ask? How do we start? That is a real challenge happening now from tier 1 to tier 2, tier 3. This is how I see it happening now.
And often the leader, has been there. Let's say a CEO has been there for 10 years. It might not be strength. Maybe that's why we've seen some evolution in the leadership of some of the companies to bring a new type of leader. But Patrick, what do you think? What's the challenges that these companies will have to face, and how should they go about succeeding in their transformation?
First, I got your message that I need to retire because I'm there for too long. Point noted.
I'm ahead of you.
Well, we think you are a digital savvy. So,
no, I guess this transformation is really, it's not a sales story only, it's not a product story only, it's a whole company you need to transform. I guess first you need to have as both of you rightly pointed, you need to have the right technology, you can say stack with you. If you still work with the old boxes, I mean, it will not be flexible enough. So you need to have this virtualization and this flexible, I mean, Enable is a very good example of what should be achieved on that front. So that's on the technology side. Then if you move how to get the customer, of course, the sales side is key. And from there, again, you need to segment your approach. You don't sell to enterprise the way you sell to carrier. It's very different. and there is no one size fits all as an enterprise. I mean, you may have the big one who has a dedicated need, but then you may have a smaller one which can be very profitable, but then you will address more as a kind of web-based or marketing-based story. So that's linked not only your sales side, but also your marketing, when it's not anymore one-to-one marketing like we used to do on the carrier side, but it can be a kind of relatively mass, still B2B, but mass marketing communication and even some automated sales channels. So that's for the sales and for the technology. On the support side, of course, again, this support should be tailor-made to the vertical you choose. Typically, I mean, I'm French speaking, you know, the disease of the French speaking people is they usually speak everything but French. And so you need to have the support in French, while in wholesale, English is a common vehicle to serve all this wholesale company in the world. So that's also particular. The business hours concept also, for some of certain type of enterprise, there is no life outside business hours. For some other, there is a 24/7 requested. Again, for your support, important to position that. So so the combination of all of that is very important. And then to rebound on the point, yes, you need some partners, because I mean, typically people like us, we put in music, but we don't invent technology. We don't invent, can say, solution. I mean, we try to package it and to make it carrier grade with a quality of service, with able to build it, to repair it, to install it, and to upgrade it. So you need to choose your right technology partner to have the most, can say, flexible and comprehensive offer for your customer.
So you can't, Patrick, you're so good. You keep bringing me to my next question. I mean, maybe you don't need me at all in this fireside chat. So I guess that was my next question: the evolution of the ecosystem. Because I mean, wholesalers have been used to partner with other wholesalers to create the end-to-end global delivery of solutions. But now it's evolving. They need to add to that value chain new types of partners, and probably partners by vertical. So how is that evolve? How should that evolve, the ecosystem, creation of different ecosystems? Or maybe, Carlos, how do you see that evolving, the types of partnerships needed, and what type of ecosystem do wholesalers need to build to be able to do that?
I think there are, it depends on, of course, at the end of the day, what's the delivery model and what is the solution to be delivered. But let's say, in simple words, I really believe that, for example, today, technology partnerships are bringing specialization and verticalization, depending of the product and let's say, the target market the wholesaler is trying to address. But we will start with the core business of a wholesaler, looking at connectivity, looking at messaging, voice, IoT, 5G, etc. To do let's say, to do those deployments properly and looking at the new target market, they will basically require technology partners that can focus on the support areas of those solutions, so they can focus on the core, or they can bring a specialization for the sales teams to go after specific target markets, or they can bring a specialization and verticalization to the product line, so they inject, let's say, APIs, functionalities into the platform, so they can provide another type of, let's say, solution or customer experience. So I will look at it. I will look at in different, let's say, areas: support, sales, customer experience, deployment model, cloud connectivity. So there are different, let's say, areas to build an end-to-end solution from the tech perspective, but also from the sales perspective and product perspective, let's say. But at the end of the day, as I said previously, it really depends on the positioning of the wholesaler. Are they going to keep being only the aggregation party in this whole wholesale model? Are they going to move ahead in the value chain to a reseller partnership model, or they are going to be more into the API partnership model, or are they going to, let's say, aggregate everything into a more integrated end-to-end solution? So depending of which is the positioning they choose in this value chain, let's say, it's going to be the partners that are going to be required. What I see on a daily basis is that when the wholesalers are trying to do everything themselves and just bringing, let's say, vendors that are going to plug into their core business is where the things start failing, because they want to do everything in-house with their current skills and with the current technical skills, and this doesn't work the same way, because the delivery model is different, the skills required are different, and the sales approach is different as well. So the evolution of this partnership needs to go in a way where the wholesaler, depending on this positioning, can have access to the best available specialization or verticalization, so they can go to market and accelerate that time to market.
Accelerate, I think that's a key word that you've just said. What about you, Patrick? Because I guess you're in that transformation. How do you go about creating these ecosystems by verticals?
I guess it's we try different, you can say, avenue. If we speak about the IoT business, IoT business is thanks to our relationship with mobile carrier, we can get multiple profile, but you need to sell directly yourself enterprise and or using those type of reseller integrator that you mentioned, Carlos, over there. So that's the way. And then, for example, the recent acquisition we made on the Symphony SIM management platform is really about providing a more complex stack of solution to the reseller for them to sell to their enterprise customer. So that's what we do. When we speak about the messaging side, as you know, in messaging, the two big paradigms is you are closer to the termination or closer to the source. Closer to the source is moving to the enterprise business. And then it's not only about messaging, it becomes CPaaS, it becomes multi-channel, voice, messaging, and WhatsApp and all type of channels. So that's something where you need to specialize. You need to have the right offer, but you need to have also the right commercial approach, the right branding, because again, iBasis, I guess, is not seeing arrogant, but is quite well known on the wholesale side. We are totally unknown in the enterprise market. So also working on the branding side. So and then you know that iBasis, the Tofane group has been built as a build-up strategy. So part of the M&A play that we are looking for could be also to add part of those I can say potential future M&A we do an enterprise arm in the journey, in our journey to help us to as a kind of foundation, a Trojan horse to develop and accelerate on this enterprise business.
Okay, I think this is super interesting discussion. We have a question from the floor. So besides the organization, how ready are wholesalers to approach the enterprise environment from an employee skill set perspective? Cultural shift internally. So how ready are the wholesalers? I would think probably not much at all. But what's your view, guys? Carlos?
With some exceptions, I would say they are not ready at all. I've been talking to many of them. There are very good initiatives, and they are it's very nice digital savvy leaderships, let's say, or leaders. In some cases, of course, but the majority of the industry, they are still not into this wholesale or digital business. So the first step, as the question is asking, is the organization and people. If from the leadership perspective, let's say they don't really digest or understand what are the steps to move towards this model, then it's difficult that the rest of the organization will follow. And it's not, and I see it every day that this is not still being digested by the majority of the industry. But I also believe it's because they don't see the need to serve the customer better. I mean, the industry has been working like this so many years, and why we need to change? I mean, what is the business case behind? No, what's the cost saving? I mean, there's still so many questions to be answered internally in the organization, and that's why I believe that is not moving at the speed that I think it should.
So I guess for people out there saying, okay, this is not for me, it's not realistic, I will never become a wholesaler, what should their strategy be to remain relevant and be one of the last men standing in the new world?
I guess it's as usual, be good at what you do. And if you are good at what you do and you serve well your customer and you try to anticipate the need of your customer, you maximize your strengths to stay relevant. But if you allow me, I would like to rebound on the Carlos answer. I guess he's a little bit tough with our industry to say that people are not ready at all and all of that. I will not be that desperate. I guess what is important, the best skills is to know yourself, to know who you are and who you are not. And from there, then you can complement your skill set, you can complement your offer and address the missing point. Of course, I mean, especially, for example, I speak for myself, iBasis, we don't have the full skills, we don't have all of that, but we are moving on the right way. We are adding, can say, skill set, we are adding experiences from inside, from new hiring. We hire a lot, for example, more than 50 people have been hired in the last, I guess, 18 months in iBasis. Close to 100, and so that's the journey, I guess, to be ready on that, on the technology side, on the partnership side, on the support side. Again, when you work on the wholesale, you are for me always at the super top of the business to business. You are selling telecom services to telecom professional, so then you can normally be sure that you discuss with somebody super skills in front of you. If you go to enterprise, and again, depending on segment of enterprise you approach, you may find similar type of profile or people who are just users and are not interested about technology and they just want functionality to work. And from there, of course, your skill set, your sales pitch, your product offering, your marketing should be tailored for the right audience.
And one thing you said, I think, is very important. It will be a journey. It will be a journey. It will not happen overnight, and people will fail and try. And you have to try. And if it doesn't work, change your strategy. But it will be a journey. It will not happen in a 1 year, 2 year. Probably it's going to be a very long period of transformation.
And if you don't fail, meaning that you didn't try enough.
I agree. No, it's true. So I think. This was an amazing panel, as I thought. Thank you guys for making my life so easy and making this panel really interesting and I think enlightening. I think maybe people watching us will start thinking differently and maybe looking into that more, I hope. So to close us off, guys, what I like to do, I like a call to action. So for people watching us out there, what is the most important? You've discussed many, many things that they should focus on, but what in your view is maybe the first thing or the most important thing they should focus on to be able to transform successfully to a wholesaler? Carlos?
For me, the organization, people for me is are the most important part of this transformation, because the rest I think will come little by little. But people understanding the model, understanding the willingness to do it and to try. Don't be afraid to try it. This is my main message.
Patrick?
Me, it's to know yourself, know your strengths, know your weakness, and know your gap analysis. That's why it's important to bring new people in your organization with a different background, because something which can look normal for them, for us, look wow, very impressive, and vice versa. So to grow your box. So that's for me the most important stuff. And if you allow me, Isabelle, I'm in this industry for 30 years. First time I'm sharing your bathroom. So that's.
There's a first for everything, Patrick, And I guess maybe to close it, we're finished, but to close, maybe one thing maybe also people should look into is bringing more young people into our industry. Young people are good at helping with transformation. They come with a fresh pair of eyes. We have our old baggage. We have gone through many things in our industry. We have a way of thinking, but young people will, I'm sure, help greatly with transforming our industry going forward.
For me, you can see young with age or young in our own industry. I guess you can have people, we can be a little bit older, but still bringing a lot of new fresh air because they come from a different living experience. So
I was surprised always. Yes, Carlos?
I was surprised that Patrick called me industry veteran on LinkedIn, so I was really like...
Yes, Carlos, it's the reality of life. You're not getting any younger. Well, guys, thank you very much for your generosity in sharing openly, so transparently, your view on this very interesting topic. And I hope to see you on the hot seat soon, guys.
Please,
Thank
not
you,
at
Isabelle.
5 a.m. in a car. But okay, with that, I'm your man.
Okay.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye.